Yes, hello and welcome to Bob Sports, where I'm going to give you some updates of basketball in Uganda. Today I'm going to be starting with Division 1. As you can see, I'm repping Makerere basketball, and yes, the Makerere Sparks made history after I don't know how many years. 2018 is the last time they managed to win a playoff series, and that's the time they're getting promoted to the NBL, but this time around, Makerere Sparks managed to defeat Lady Jewels, a sweep 2-0 to advance to the semi-finals over FUBA Division 1. That's where I'm going to be starting from. Of course, we had Div 1 action at the playoffs starting over the weekend with 11 games on Saturday, which were supposed to take place, and then also a number of games on Sunday. Just to run you through how the games went. I begin off with Makerere Sparks. Makerere Sparks, it was a tough game, game 1 against Mombs Lady Jewels, but they managed to see it through. And then on Sunday, they got the job done with an emphatic victory, getting the win to advance to the semi-finals. For the Victoria She-Crocs, they were supposed to face the Amazon Rhino, but Amazon Rhino did not turn up for one reason or another. They had a bit of issues here and there, and that meant that the Victoria She-Crocs advanced to the semi-finals. They will be facing the Makerere, Sparks in that semi-final for place in the NBL. When you go to the other side of the coin, we had Legends. They managed to defeat Kampala University Ladies in game 1, but in a game 2 which was very, very close. Actually game 1 also, it was a 2-point game. Legends won that one. Then game 2, game 1 to take it back, Francis Nablobi managed to score 18 points, if I'm not mistaken, 18 points alone in the fourth quarter, while the whole Kampala University team scored just 17. So she was the key player for the Legends in that victory. But in game 2, the Kampala University managed to win that game 63 on 60 to tie the series, and we shall be heading into game 3 and decide for that series. Moving on to the other one, Power Queens managed to defeat the Jet Junior Lady Jaguars 2-0. It was an easy victory for them in both games 1 and 2, and they managed to advance. So Power Queens awaits the winner between Kampala University and Legends. We shall be waiting to see who of those two will be advancing. Moving on to the men. The men also, man, it was crazy. A lot of things happening. If I take you to, first and foremost, the game between Nkumba and Night Riders. Nkumba Marines advanced to the semi-finals. They managed to defeat the Night Riders. Close, both very, very close games 1 and 2. For game 2, it was very, very close. Ended in a 2-point game, but the Nkumba Marines won't be minding that. They're looking to try to go back to the NBL, place they haven't been in a while. So they're trying to push as much as they can to make sure they go there. Going on to the other game, Umu Flames, who did not play on Saturday, but they played their first game on Sunday against Diamonds in the Sun. That game was very close from start, but in the fourth quarter, Umu managed to get a separation, and in the end they managed to secure a victory. So they lead the series 1-0. But the other games, we had Miracle Eagles and I Hopes. I don't want to say shocked. I Hopes managed to get a victory as Saloom Ruchedi came up huge for I Hopes. At the end of the third quarter, scored some big 5 points for them to close the quarter, when they got I think a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. They kind of never gave it up, managed to squeeze through and managed to secure the victory. But in game 2, it was drama at the end. When I say drama, I mean telenovela drama, because, oh my goodness, the ending was crazy. The game, these two teams went back from start to the end. But in the final action of the game, the Miracle Eagles led by 1 point, and they had the ball. And then on the inbound, a foul seemed to have been there on one of their players, but the referees did not call it. Unfortunately, the Miracle, a turnover was made, and the Miracle, rather the I Hopes player went through to go, and he tried to dunk, but in the process his hand was pulled. But they called for 2 shots, not a U, but then the man missed both free throws, and that's how Miracle managed to win that game by 1 point and the series in that one. Moving on to the other game is between UPDF and Tropical Warriors. UPDF managed to win the series. Game 1 was so easy for them. Even game 2, it was just plain sailing victories for the UPDF Tomahawks as they look to make sure they also go back to the NBL places they have not been since they got relegated 2 years ago. And then just to take you to the side of Division 2 action, the number 2 seed Gulu Hawks was surprisingly swept by Berkeley. Both games were very, very, very close. In the first one, I think it was 90-93 to very high scoring. Then the second one, Gulu had 80 and Berkeley had, I think, 93-95 around there, if I'm not, I stand to be corrected. Then on the other end, we had Vegetarian. They also swept Governors and they have advanced to the finals. One of the standout players in there is the U16 youngster Shaka Bugari, who managed to get 18 in game 2, 18 points. Then he got 12 in game 1. Then when I go to the other game, Watoto managed to sweep Kampala University. That is they won both games and they managed to also advance to the semi-finals. Then moving on to the other final game is between the Falcons and Marching Day Shooters. Falcons won game 1 in overtime. It was 93-88, I believe. I start to be corrected. I will check on the scores exactly, but they managed to win that game in overtime. It was a very close one. With some action at the end of the fourth quarter, they are tying the game and etc. etc. But in game 2, they were destroyed completely. They scored 58 and Shooters, registered I think 80. It was a big win for the Marching Day Shooters, and those guys shall be now going into a deciding game 3. There's a lot to look out for in Div 1. There's a lot of action to watch out for. But moving on to the big one, the Namongo Blazers. I know so many of you want to know about the Namongo Blazers. The Namongo Blazers advanced to the Elite 16. This was after they managed to register a huge win against Jabal from Comoros. That is, it was 132 on 58 points in that game. Peter Obleng scored a whopping 39 points with 7 out of 8 3-point shots made. The man was on fire. He couldn't miss anything, dunk after dunk. But for Namongo Blazers, I think we expected this. After watching the game between Jabal and Dacity, in my mind I knew that Namongo had enough to defeat this Jabal team. And when you should go back and watch how Namongo fought with Dacity toe to toe. The game was very close until I think the fourth quarter, towards the end, when Dacity managed to create some separation. Dacity had a lot of quality in them and they had a lot of size. They had 3 big guys who were a problem. Patney, they had Mitchell, and then they had Deng and Wok. Those 3 guys were causing problems for Namongo Blazers, but by the fact that they managed to fight through and make it a contest says a lot about them. And I think we're very proud. Ugandans are very proud of the performance that Namongo Blazers exhibited in both games, despite losing the first game by 13, but they managed to win this other game by a very, very huge margin. So we shall be waiting for the Namongo Blazers in the Elite 16. We shall be waiting to see how the team shall line up and if they can be able to finish once again in the top 2 and advance to the BAL, the main BAL. Moving on to the final story of the day is the NBL Finals. I know this is a week for the NBL Finals. There's a lot of excitement. We are going to be having, the finals start on Friday, and the Namongo Blazers up against the City Oilers. It's giving 2022 vibes. You know what I'm talking about. If you remember the 2022 NBL Finals, which was, the teams went very close to each other and ended up going into a game 7. There's a lot to look out for. Of course, the Namongo Blazers right now are super excited after advancing to the Elite 16. Can they keep up that fire? Can they bring it in the finals? When you look at the City Oilers team, they have had a lot of time to rest, more than a month of training and putting in the work. And despite not looking sharp or solid all through the season, they have a chance to make sure they clinch an 11th title, while the Namungo Blazers are trying to make sure they win their first and end the City Oilers reign. That final, we shall be getting you more and more analysis into it as Friday draws close. But on the other game, in the finals between the JKLAD Dolphins, who managed to actually defeat the UCLAD Currents in Game 5, another close game, very close, but the JKLAD Dolphins managed to win that one and advanced to yet another final, the 6th in a row, and they shall be meeting first-time finalists, the JT Lady Jaguars. When the season was starting, these are the two teams we looked at as potentially reaching the finals, and indeed they have managed to live up to the expectation, and here they are. But one more mission remains to win the championship. We shall be finding out more. We shall be giving you more news, team news about what's going on, as we try to build up to the NBL Finals. But from me to you, that's been it, and just keep up on your notifications for more updates. Thank you very much.